welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today at another Meetup Live. I'm Alex. I am a customer support lead on our community experience team. And with me is Colin-Pierre. Say hello, Colin.
Hello, everyone. I'm Colin. I'm a manager on the comics team and happy I'm here.
We'll go ahead and get started today. As always, we'll go through some guidelines so you know what to expect. First and foremost, this video will be recorded. You do not appear in the video, and we will be sharing the recording in a few days through our Community Matters blog. We will put links to the blog later on in our presentation today. In addition to your video not being on, you are courtesy muted, so we won't be hearing you. The only people you'll be seeing and hearing today will be Colin and myself. However, the questions that you have are the crucial part of our presentation today. We've got some questions that we already set aside, like I said, but if you have more questions during the event today, please feel free to submit them in the Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen. We have some customer support specialists on the line to answer them live, and we might set aside some questions if we've got time at the end and answer some of those questions live. Last but not least, closed captioning is available. If you'd like to turn that on, simply click the live transcription icon at the bottom of your screen and select your preference. Today, after I get done with the introduction, we'll share some recent updates we've made to the product. Then we will take a look at the questions that were previously submitted and provide some of the answers and strategies and tips and workarounds that we've come up with for you. And then last but not least, we'll be sharing resources and links so that you are empowered to look up this information yourself or to reach out to our support team and get more assistance with your community building. What we will be talking about today are which photos are best for your profiles across Meetup, where you can find a feature that's really useful for trying out event hosts, what you can do to re-engage inactive members. It's a really, really critical issue that people ask about quite frequently. We'll talk about how you can identify and focus on your most active members. We'll talk about why your group might not be appearing in search results and improvements we have recently made to the Find page to improve search results for everybody. We'll also talk about when you should contact your members in order to maintain engagement and participation in your group between events. So, and like I said, if you've got any other questions, we will be answering them in the Q&A feature or at the end of our session today. So please feel free to submit those questions. And without further ado, we will jump right in with the product updates. Colin, would you like to talk to us about some recent features we've launched?
Yes, thanks, Alex. All right, so these two features I want to tell you about. These are organizer specific. So the first thing that we've heard a lot is a request for the ability to kind of toggle your event chat on or off. And so we implemented this feature in the event scheduler, where you can choose which communication tool you want to use for your event. So as an organizer or someone who can schedule an event on the leadership team, you can toggle one or the other on, or both of them on. So you do have to keep one on, just, for ways, because it's important to, keep in touch with your attendees and your members who are coming to your events. So in your event schedule, you'll see the option to toggle chat on or comments or both. Something else to note is once you save or publish the event, you can't change this setting. So this is only available when you're going to schedule the event. But once you save it or publish it, you won't be able to change the setting. So just keep that in mind. But we're always open to that feedback from you. Cool. All right, let's go to the next one, which
Before we move on, I just also like to add what you just said, Colin, about feedback being important. This feature about the ability to switch came directly as a response to feedback we received. We wanted to make sure that we were able to provide flexible communication options for organizers. Event chat's still a fairly new feature, and a lot of communities were already used to using event comments. It was because we were hearing directly from organizers that we were able to roll out the option to choose between them. So once again, feedback is absolutely crucial.
Because both of them, they have pros and cons to each feature. So we want to make sure that you're using the feature that works for you. Okay, cool. Next, so this is regarding the organizer app. If you haven't yet downloaded the organizer app, we'll show you in the next slide QR code where you can download it. But this was our #1 request with the which is the ability to edit a repeat event series. So originally you were only able to edit events one at a time, but all the edits you made wouldn't apply to all the rest of the events in the series. So this is a new feature that we rolled out because of your feedback. So thank you so much. Where any changes you make, you can choose to apply it to just one event or all of the rest in the series. So this is great. This is a screenshot of my group. I have a repeat event that happens almost every day. So this is super helpful for me, and hopefully for you. And then this next slide, just as a reminder, we do have our organizer app. And if you don't have it yet as an organizer, feel free to scan this QR code and download it. This app is available to organizers, anyone on the leadership team, and also event hosts. So if you are the host of an event, you'll be able to download it, log in, and then you'll see that event that you're hosting. All right, so those are our product updates. Alex, yeah, you can take it away for our Q&A part.
Yeah,
We
like I said,
received a lot of, yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Colin, sorry.
No, just was gonna say, we've received a lot of questions ahead of time from you all. So thank you so much for submitting them. We grabbed a few that we think we can answer live. And then also after, we can answer any additional ones you have.
Absolutely. So let's take a look at some of the questions that we were receiving today. First and foremost, somebody asked, my new profile picture isn't updating across all my various groups. Can you advise when this bug can be fixed? First and foremost, we wanted to call out the experience that's being reported here actually is not a bug. This is an intentionally designed part of Meetup. And the reason why is that there is a difference between your site-wide account profile for when you log in, like under my name, there's like my site-wide profile for Alex. But for each group, you get a separate group profile as well. And some groups have specific requirements about what they want to see in that group profile, including profile pictures. So once a profile picture is set in a group profile, changing your account profile will not automatically apply to your group profiles. So once again, that's after you set a group profile photo. Changing your account profile photo does not update your group profile. You can go into each of your group profiles individually and update the pictures that way. If you would like instead to have the blanket ability to update all of your group profile photos at once, that's a great idea. That's a great feature request. And we want to make sure that you have the opportunity to submit that feature request yourself. So we like to show you in these sessions here how you can submit one of those feature requests. We'll give you the direct link to this form today, both in the chat and at the end of our presentation today. But I just want to take you through right now and show you how simple it is to request a feature request. Like we said in the beginning, things like flexibility in your event communications and being able to edit recurring events in the organizer app. These are updates that we made directly in response to feature requests like this. So these are really, really helpful. So if you want to submit a request for updating all of your group profile photos at once, you'll want to go into well, first, you'll choose your feature category. I'm choosing account settings because we're talking about profile photos. You could just as easily pick groups or photos, but I'm going to go ahead and say account settings because it feels right. And I will go ahead and select profile for the feature category as like a subtopic. And now you'll get a chance to fill out this form. We'll say which platform this is about. The really important part here is explaining the feature request. I'd like to be able to update all of my group profile photos at once. When I update my account profile photo, I should have the option to apply that change to all my group profiles. Specificity is really helpful here. especially if you can point out how it impacts your experience, like what you are trying to do in Meetup that is being blocked or is a frustrating experience because we lack this thing that you're currently requesting. So pointing out, like, when I do update my account profile photo, I wish I could do this, really helps us sort of clarify what the specific request is.
Exactly. Just some context around this form. We review this on, if not a daily basis, certainly a weekly basis, and we're tracking everything that comes in, and we're kind of tagging it to the specific request, the feature request. It's so important because the more we hear from you and the more volume we get around these requests, the more of a reason we to implement these highly requested features. So definitely use this form. We'd love to hear your great ideas.
Absolutely. So yeah, and then once you fill in your email address and you click submit, you'll get a landing page that will confirm the submission has gone through successfully. If you have another feature request, you can just go to the link. Once again, it'll bring you back to the initial page where you select the category, the part of Meetup that you want to submit the feature request for.
Alex, could you show the difference between the account profile photo and the group profile photo?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's a great idea. Let's see.
You can log into my, oh yeah, you got it. I have my yoga group.
Right
there, great.
Okay, so here is the homepage for the group. If we go to the members here, that's me. And I just use the Meetup logo here for the profile. But so you'll see here, a way to easily identify that this is a group profile and not the site-wide profile is that it does highlight my role within the group. And any specific questions that I had to answer when I joined the group will also be displayed here. And you'll see this link here that says view full profile. So you know that this is just a group profile. When I click view full profile, you actually get more information about the group.
Right.
So this is the older experience of Meetup, which if you've been using Meetup for a while, you probably recognize this setup. If you want to see your complete site-wide profile, you go to the top right-hand corner and you click on profile. So this has a much larger profile picture. You have a bio that you can write for yourself in your account settings. It'll tell you how long you've been a member, and it'll also show you all of your groups as well as your interests.
And if you go back to the group profile,
sure,
you can see in right under the profile photo, it says change your photo. Yeah, go to the group view full profile.
Oh, you have to go into here to do it? Yeah.
Yeah, so change your photo. And then if you have like an existing, click pick an existing photo, you can see like the ones that are kind of like that Alex has used across the site. So he can choose anyone to apply to this specific group. However, changing this photo will not change your account wide profile. It's still that. So just again, these are two different areas of the product, but a lot of people want to have a specific group photo, maybe with their dog. They're in a dog group, they want to have a photo with their dog. They're in a yoga group, they want to have an active photo, or compared to like the account wide profile photo where it's just like their face or whatever. So anyway, that's just like why this exists. So thanks for showing them.
Absolutely. Cool. All right. So that explains the difference between your account profile photo and your group profile photos, how to navigate between the two profiles and how to update photos for each, as well as how to submit feature requests if you'd like to see updates to those parts of Meetup. I'm going to go ahead and talk about this second question as well. We got a question that asked, how can I allow all of my members to post events without making them group leader? This is sort of a tricky question, actually. Meetup does not authorize general members the permissions or the access in your group to just post their own events. However, if you do want to test one of your members about whether they can host great events, whether you trust them with the access to handle the different, like the group settings, the contact tools that you have for your group, Anytime you, as the organizer of a group, or any of your leadership team members who do have the access to publish an event, anytime you are publishing an event, you can select any member of your group as a one-time host for that event. Event hosts get some permissions only for that specific event. So they can manage the attendees, they can use the contact tools for that specific event to reach out to attendees who have already RSVP'd. They can decide if the RSVPs need to be closed or reopened so that you can control when people are RSVPing. They can edit some settings in the event scheduler. They can cancel or delete the event if necessary. They even get access to the Meetup for Organizers app. Even though they're a general member, once they have been selected as an event host, they'll be able to access that event in the organizer app, which means they get access to specific tools that help with managing the event while it's happening, like attendee check-in. And if they do a really terrific job as an event host, the other option, going back to the original question, like how can we let people post events without making them group leader? You can assign them leadership team roles that aren't the primary organizer. As the primary organizer, you still pay for the subscription, you have full control and access over your group, but your leadership team get access to some other parts of the site. Let's see here, yes. Managing a leadership team. I wanted to show the Help Center article about managing a leadership team, specifically this graph here, which shows you the permissions that each of the roles that you can assign affords. Like I said, as organizer, you have complete access. You're in control of the entire group. The next highest tier of leadership team role you can assign as co-organizer. Now, again, they'd be able to, like you see at the bottom of this chart here, they would be able to schedule, edit, and cancel events as a co-organizer. They can also have access to the group contact tools rather than just the event contact tools. They have access to a bit more statistics and attendance history for the members in your group. They have control over some parts of the member list. They can control who joins. They can remove or ban members if they need to, and then they can adjust some settings. The primary things that a co-organizer would not be able to do is transfer group ownership to somebody else or access any monetization that you've set up for your group. Meetup Live has been hosting events about monetization. So if you have questions about that, definitely check out our blog. We've been posting a lot of information about member dues, event fees, and the new fundraising campaign that we've set up with Pledge. So if you got questions about that, definitely check out the blog. But back to the leadership team roles, the other two roles to keep an eye out for that you can assign to people, and each with a little less responsibility. Assistant organizers get access to all of the event management that the other roles we've talked about do. The things that they primarily can't do are managing your leadership team, and they also cannot get access to change any of the settings for the group. And then last but not least is the event organizer. And this is the lowest tier of your leadership team. And essentially, it gets at what the original question was. How do I let everybody post an event without making them a leadership team role? This is the next best compromise. After having someone on the leadership team select an event host, the next best thing is to just make members event organizers. There are some groups that will make every member an event organizer so that they do have that permission. But if you don't want to assign those roles, event host is a great workaround for that. Anything you think we should add there, Colin?
No, yeah, I was just going to say what you said. A lot of groups do just, when someone joins their group, they make them an event organizer so that they can schedule events themselves. It's kind of less pressure to like have manage like every single event in the group. But really, it depends on the group, depends on the type of group you have. I wouldn't recommend that for every group. Totally up to you.
Great. All right, let's move on to the next question. Keep things rolling today. Colin, do you want to take this one?
Sure. All right, this question is, I just took over a group. How do I reduce membership from 680 to a more manageable number of active participants? Cool. So this sounds like this organizer stepped up to become the new organizer of a group that was closing, or the organizer stepped down or nominated someone else. And this group had a big membership of 680 members, but a lot of the members are probably not active or just are no longer interested or whatever in the group. So when you go to your member list, you can see who's been active. And so I think this organizer kind of wants to cut down on the noise and focus on the people who are active. We've hosted events in the Meetup live events in the past where we do kind of explain how to engage those active members and maybe focus less on the inactive members. But I thought this is a good time where we can show you, if you want to share your screen, Alex, like how to go into your member list, remove or ban members, and also like filter them to see who's active.
Sure. So I'll set up removing or banning a member.
Yeah.
Just a moment. All right. Bear with me for just one more moment. Sorry. And great. We are going to. Okay. Thank you for your patience, everyone. All right, sharing my screen once again. Here we are in Colin's group. To remove or ban a member, we go into the members list. And beside each member, you see this 3 dots icon. If you click on that icon, first of all, you can change member role. That gets at the leadership team stuff we were just talking about. But the next option is remove from group. When you remove a person from your group, you get the option to type explanation why. Optional, you don't need to. You can select to hide an email address. You can email yourself a copy of the message you're sending. You can also ban somebody from rejoining the group. You can remove somebody, but encourage them to rejoin. Sometimes that's an important re-engagement tactic. I think we're going to talk about that a little later today, but banning someone prevents them from ever rejoining your group.
Yeah. And in order to identify these people who are inactive, if you go back and at the top of the list, you can sort by last visited, name, date, join, relevance. And if you click that arrow again, it'll show like the people who haven't visited for 6 or more months. Oh, that's my brother. I'm gonna yell at him. No, so these people, maybe they're just, their life has changed and maybe they're not in the area anymore or whatever. And it's okay, I think, to cut down on how many members are in your group. And the other thing was, if I know that this is a very manual process. So this person has 680 members in their group and they want to probably cut it down to like a couple hundred. This would be super manually intensive to remove 400 members manually. So right now we don't have the ability to bulk remove a big group of members from your group, but we can do it for you. So if you ever need to reduce the number of members, if it's a couple hundred or whatever, we can help you. So contact us, our community support team. They'll be able to bulk remove a bunch. So just wanted to tell you that. And this is also a feature request. So if you want the ability to remove bulk remove members, definitely let us know. We do occasionally get requests for this. So if there are more,
we'll be able to prioritize it.
If there's more of a need, exactly.
Right.
The other thing here, I see a light bulb. When you remove a member, you may send a message. Okay, yeah, you covered that.
Yeah, what I meant by that was I learned from one of our community organizer mentors from our Discord server, which we'll talk about later as well. He said he's recognized that some of his members, like we saw in Colin's member list, they haven't participated in 6 months. When that happens, Meetup does send notifications to inactive members to lure them back into your group so that they know to participate and that they continue receiving more updates and notifications and event announcements. The less active somebody is in your group, the less likely they are to receive the notifications from your group. So like I said, there's steps that Meetup takes in order to make sure that they are receiving the necessary notifications. But removing that member from your group is a good wake-up call for them. And you can insert the URL link for your group homepage when you remove them and say, like, this isn't anything personal, but I saw you haven't been around in a while. If you'd like to rejoin and receive more event announcements and updates from us, click here, rejoin the group. We'd love to have you. The mentor we were talking to, his name is David. You can meet him in our Discord server. Again, just teasing that again. We'll talk about it later. David had said once he used that tactic, removing people from the group and just sending a polite message to invite them back in by sending the link to the group homepage, he did see more participation and re-engagement with his group.
That's great.
Just
Well, I'll have to do that with my group.
Do it with your brother.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
Cool.
Question number 4.
I'll do this one. This one, the reason I want to do this is because it's relevant to my strategies with my group. So I have 375 members, but only 1 to 5 show up. What can I do? How to interact in between events? So this is like perfect for what I've experienced. You know, I have like, I don't know, 400 some members, and I only get, I mean, it really varies, but it's between 1 and 5 every time. And when people RSVP, of course, you know, it says 20 people are coming. So it's frustrating. And, you know, it's not the end of the world, but it's definitely sometimes discouraging and confusing. So what can I do? How to interact in between events? So what I do is really focus on the communication tools. You know, our members, they do get notifications, but at some point, you know, there's a million apps, a million notifications. People become desensitized to getting pushes all the time. So what I find is actually like a personal message or to them directly, or in the event chat, or posting in group discussions, like really trying to engage those members and engage the community that you're trying to build, is adding that kind of like cherry on top personal touch that I found to actually been working. So that's encouraging. I know it's definitely a little more work, but so for example, you know, before my yoga events, I might send them like a little message in the event chat. Let's do, you know, excited to see you today. Let's do it, you know, get pumped, like random stuff if you feel inspired, to not only remind them that this event is happening, but also to inspire and encourage and make them feel, I think, more comfortable with showing up. Because it can be scary for members to, especially first time attendees, to show up not really knowing what to do. So if you could do any sort of anything to make them feel more comfortable, that's my recommendation. So we have different strategies that work for different communities. We have our Community Matters blog with a lot of articles about how to boost engagement and how to get your community to succeed. And we also have our Meetup organizer community on Discord, where there are hundreds of active organizers and mentors who swap tips, and you can ask questions where they can answer about how to increase that show up rate.
Emily's just posted links in the chat. The first is quick search results on the word engagement in the Community Matters blog. So you can see not only some of the recent recordings of Meetup Live events where we were talking about engagement, and particularly the communication tools that Colin was just talking, how best to leverage them to facilitate that kind of engagement from your group and those show ups. And the other thing that Emily has posted is the invitation to join our Discord community. Discord is, if you're not familiar with it, an instant messaging platform. And we've built a server where we have a team of organizer mentors, experienced organizers who have built large, thriving communities, sometimes small but thriving communities, because every organizer's experience helps shed light on the experiences that you are having. You get different tips and strategies from different perspectives. We have different channels for different kinds of discussions, focusing on different kinds of groups, for photography groups, for book club groups, various kinds of themes and topics. So if you have specific questions about ways to get your group particularly up and running on a larger scale, the Discord community is a really, really valuable resource for that. So feel free at your leisure, click on the link there in the chat. If you don't have a Discord account already, you'll have to set one up and then follow the invitation link. Once you enter the Discord server, there's a channel called Start Here. You go there first, you go through a very brief verification process. And once that's done, you get access to all the discussion channels. So just want to highlight the value of that particular resource that we're offering. Anything you want to add on that, Colin, before we move on?
No, I mean, well, if anything, just, be persistent.
Yeah.
Persistence is key, and communication is key, constantly communicating with your members and showing that you're a real person goes a long way.
Yeah, I think as an organizer, particularly for organizers who are just starting out or organizers who've sort of plateaued, they've reached a point where like you get those consistent 1 to 5 show-ups, but you're having trouble encouraging new members to join or existing members to attend. That can be very frustrating because you're not seeing the response that you're hoping to get from building your community. And that leads us into our next question. Somebody had asked, my motorcycle riding group's presence is barely known. I have all the related interests put in, but when I do a search as a guest, only out of state and bicycle groups are shown. Is Meetup able to make my group easier to find? I'm going to break down a couple of things about this question now, because it's a little nuanced. The person has said that they've put all the related interests in. When you create your group, you select topics. Meetup uses those topics you select and matches them with the interests that members have in their profile. And we use that match in order to send a new group announcement email. So that's the initial sort of advertisement for your group. We announce there is a new group. And so if I've put yoga in my profile interests and Colin creates a yoga group, I'm going to get an email if I'm in his area that says, hey, by the way, there's a new group. As a member, I also get to decide how distant I'm willing to receive those announcements from. So this person says that they put in all of the related interests, but they're still not seeing the responses they want. And then they say, when I do a search as a guest, that is, we do hear this question from organizers more often than you might think. They'll have an organizer account. And for a long time, organizers who searched for their own groups in the find page could not find them because our search results automatically registered, oh, that's your group. We don't need to show you that group. You're already a member of it. So organizers would then create a second account as a guest when they're not a member of this group and try the same search. This person's saying they still weren't able to find their group. They were able to find groups that were out of state, and they were able to find bicycle groups. The bicycle thing is an interesting trick. It's an interesting problem because I can see how motorcycle riding and bicycle riding, depending on what interests and topics and keywords get used, you might get some overlap there. So there's definitely a opportunity for feature request there, I would say, about like continuing to improve the search results. So having broken down that question, I want to get into some of the answers and things you can keep in mind about this. First of all, we were aware that organizers not being able to find their group was a point of frustration. There's no reassurance there that your group is publicly visible. And so based on the feedback we were receiving about that, we recently launched an improvement to our search engine. So now you can search by the exact name or title of your group, and it will come up even if you are the organizer of that group. Previously, the best way to search for groups in the find page was by using keywords. And it would particularly highlight keywords in the event title or group title or the event or group descriptions. I think that's still a good tactic to use if I don't know what this person's motorcycle riding group is called, but if it doesn't include the word motorcycle in it, then someone searching in our find page for motorcycle may not have seen it pop up in search results. The other thing to keep in mind is distance. If you live in a particularly remote or wide metropolitan area, where you select the location for your group matters, even if you're hosting remote events. For a motorcycle riding event, I imagine you're meeting in person, but you never know. So even if you're hosting remote events, it's important to keep in mind what location you're setting for your group. A more central location to the whole area that you are trying to reach is likelier to contact people on the fringes of that edge. So for instance, a suburb of Washington, DC, not going to reach Washington, DC itself as easily. But if you select Washington, DC, you'll get like, the Arlington area and the assorted areas, connected to Washington, DC. So keep that in mind. Let's see, any other, so we talked about interest, we talked about location, we talked about improvements to the search engine.
Yeah, I
Anything
think
else?
yeah, not much. It's definitely a tricky question, because it really depends on like how the members and this particular person is searching. We try to highlight events and groups with based on the keywords that are in their events and group description, everything. We recognize I think there's definitely things we can do to improve those search results. But I think we have things in our roadmap that we're working on right now. So I'm excited to hear more.
A couple other things just occurred to me too that would help. One is making sure that you've scheduled upcoming events. That does affect search results.
Yeah.
Even if you've got one upcoming event, it's worth having a second upcoming event scheduled about 2 weeks afterward.
Because part of the search results do take into consideration if it's an active group.
Right.
And if you don't see that there's any events coming up, our algorithm, it doesn't hide groups from the search results, but it just won't make it as prominent, because at the end of the day, people are searching for events to attend in groups. And if you don't have things that are active in your group, then that could negatively impact search results.
And that's an intentional design to help members find active groups.
Right.
If say a group has a recurring event that's scheduled for every 2 weeks, but there are no attendees, and it's just like an ongoing event, it's going to have the same result on search on the search results as not having a second event. So the reason for the less priority of these inactive groups is to make it a better experience for people who are actually finding those communities, finding active people who are really meeting up. The other thing to keep in mind is if you've done everything on the Meetup end, you've selected a prime location, you've inserted title and keywords, you have put in those topics so that it matches to interested members in your area, and you're able to find your group in the search results. All of that is in place and you're still not seeing the participation that you're hoping for. Leverage your social media networks, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. We have through your account, your account settings and your profile, you can create links to your particular accounts. You can easily share from event homepages a link that you can direct to your social media accounts. It's just entirely possible that the interested members in your area, maybe they're busy, maybe they haven't checked Meetup in a little while, we've been sending them those notifications. Getting fresh members in your area who don't know about Meetup or haven't joined Meetup yet, by sharing your event on your social media networks, that can be a useful way to start activating your group a little better.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, good question. This one was tricky.
All right. I think this is our last question that we received beforehand. We wanted to spend a little bit of time answering what the differences are between standard Meetup and Meetup Pro. The simplest answer is that these are two different subscription tiers, and what you are paying for, you get a different set of tools. With a standard Meetup subscription, you can create up to 3 groups and you get access to a lot of the tools we were talking about today: communication tools, group settings, monetization, selecting and managing your leadership team and your member list. With
Unlimited amount of events you can post. It's just
right.
like the core group that you have. Yeah.
With Meetup Pro, you get a much wider array of tools, and they're especially helpful if you're trying to build a network of groups globally or across a much wider area than your immediate location. A Meetup Pro network can have an unlimited number of groups. The subscription cost is per group. You get access to an analytics dashboard, so you can track the number of joins, the number of RSVPs, some of those vital statistics that help you keep track of the growth of your group. We offer an integration with MailChimp, which is one of the primary ways that organizers have to capture their member email addresses. Any member who RSVPs to your event, if you've got this MailChimp integration set up, they provide their email address, and from that point on, you can use MailChimp to contact them directly by email. We also offer network events through Meetup Pro, and that means you post one event that is immediately published to all groups in your network. Last but not least, we recently launched a new feature where you can highlight a guest speaker at your event. You can get a little profile picture for them, a little blurb. It's a nice way to advertise a specific participant in your event and to make your event just seem a little snazzier and a little more attractive to people who are wondering what to expect. If you're interested in Meetup Pro and you feel like your group or your community is ready to really expand on that level, we're going to share the links so that you can go to the landing page where you can learn more about Meetup Pro and register for a free trial. All right, here we are. It is a quarter till. We're running low on time. I think we can make time for maybe one more question. What do you think, Colin?
Yeah, let me see what we got.
I think we've got one from Porter that would be good.
Nice.
Porter has asked, I have someone who joined my group, posted an inappropriate picture in an event and left. They posted another inappropriate picture in a future event. How can I stop this? Huge question, very important. We want to make sure that everybody who is a member of your community and anyone who is an organizer with Meetup feels safe and that you have control over.
Yeah, sounds like they need to be banned.
So we did show that detail earlier about how you can go into your member list, click on those three dots, get to the drop-down menu and select whether you want to remove or ban that member. The other thing to keep in mind is, let's go back to the help center. I want to make sure that you see, if you just type in report on our help center, which is help.meetup.com, you can get to articles for reporting various kinds of things. You reporting members, reporting copyright infringement. This sounds like something, specifically reporting inappropriate content. If you scroll down, you will see here how to report a comment, how to report a message. You can also report a member.
Yeah. And if this member posted an inappropriate photo, you do have the ability to remove that photo, thankfully. So definitely, you probably already have, but it's not like it'll just stay there. So, yeah, I'm sorry that happened, but definitely recommend trying. It's sometimes hard to moderate the type of members who come into your group. We do have settings in your group settings where you can have member approval turned on, so they have to request to join your group. You can have profile questions, so they have to answer a question before they join, or have a profile photo. So we do try to offer those tools so that this doesn't happen. You can kind of vet those members. But people slip through the cracks. That's happened in my group as well. So but yeah, definitely.
And in those cases, it's really important to file the report. We do have an active trust and safety team. They investigate these reports. They take action in order to keep our community safe. So take the steps you need to take within your group to keep inappropriate content from being posted on your events. And then when you're able, please file the report so that we can investigate and prevent further abuse like that. Cool, great question. We're going to quickly run through the resources and links that we promised. We've got 4 QR codes here on this slide. First and foremost, we've talked a lot about the feature request form. On the top left of this slide is the QR code. We also are posting the links in the chat. If you don't have specific requests, but you want to keep up with what we are launching and what we are updating and what we are releasing on Meetup, the bottom left-hand corner is a link to our product updates page, and we will make announcements there about the new things that you should keep an eye out for. I showed you some pages from Meetup's Help Center, and we've shared some links to that. The Help Center has a lot of resources and articles if you have questions about navigating Meetup, about using your communication tools, how to navigate, tricky success issues, how to get the most out of your group. So definitely recommend going to Meetup's Help Center first and foremost. And at the bottom of every single article, you will see a link that says "Need help?" ? You click that link, it'll open a support ticket for you. We'll get in touch with a support specialist by email. They'll work with you directly. Sometimes for account-specific issues, that's the best way to go about it. Last but not least, if something has gone disastrously wrong and you've seen an error message and you can't access your group, filing a bug report is the best way to alert us about that. It helps us track errors more efficiently and release fixes faster. So you can submit a direct request to file a bug report by using the QR code on the bottom right here. I talked about the organizer community on Discord. Scan this QR code or use the link in the chat if you'd like to join that instant messaging platform, talk with other organizers who might be going through the same issues you are, or ask questions directly to our mentor community and hear what solutions, strategies, and experiences they have to share. And then last but not least, please subscribe to our Meetup podcast hosted by our CEO, David Siegel. We have a lot of really cool guests who talk about various kinds of community building. And sometimes you get little glimpses about where we're heading, both as a platform and as a company. So thank you so much for joining us today for another session of Meetup Live. And thank you so much for submitting your questions today.
Yes, thank you so much. It's so great to hear from you all. And we try to answer them the best we can. So we hope we answered them. But definitely, if your questions were answered, post them in the Discord channel. And there's so many people who can help as well. I'll try.
And I believe we're going to do
too.
another one of these events in a
for
month
sure.
or two, right?
I think we'll do one next month.
And if you go to the Meetup event for these office hours, we post the link to the form where you can submit questions. And that is how we collect which question we are going to address in our next event. So please feel free to use that. And thank you again for joining us.
Have a good day, everyone.